Fellas, ladies, you looking for lotions? You looking for beard oils? But unfortunately, everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and it's probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unfiltered Sports, where the refs. Sorry about that. So, where the refs can't save you and the truth gets called. A raw concept, no holds, barred segment where hosts and guests breaks down the most controversial plays, coaching decisions, player drama, and league policies with zero sugarcoating. No PR talk, no safe answers. Unfiltered sports. So let's just since playoffs is here and we just witnessed the college football championship game. Let's hear your thoughts on that game. It was a great game, close game. I was rooting for University of Miami. I was hoping for the upset, the underdog to take that matchup and win. I am huge on underdogs, but much love, much respect, and much credit to Indiana for taking that win by 3 points, I believe it was. Great game. You know what's even crazier about that game, though? There was a lot of missed calls. There was a lot of bad whistles that happened. And the quarterback for Indiana lives 2 miles from the campus of the University of Miami and got denied a walk-on opportunity to the University of Miami. And ironically, he just beat the University of Miami in Miami. That's crazy because you had an opportunity, but you were denied that opportunity. But he didn't take no for an answer. He went to someplace else that took a chance on him, and he became a superstar, and he was able to shine and look at him win a championship for his team. So it speaks volume. Before we go any further into that, though, huge shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Sports here on the OG Network. Huge shout out to Out the Pit for tuning in every Thursday night. Just making sure we get the update on the sports and everything, and the trash talk. That's what the chat is for. The trash talk about these sports teams like the Cowgirls and all these other sports teams that want to be it, that they think that this year is their year. It is what it is. But we have no filter here on Thursday nights. We don't care who you are, what you do, what your background is, what team you like. We're going to trash talk everybody's team, and we're going to get over it at the end of the night. But have you ever been a part of a team planning a game where a referee missed a call, called the bad call, even a player being benched for something? What about trades? What about the suspension of the unknown? There's a lot that gets taken into consideration here. And I just find it interesting, too, because we talk about trades here. And in the middle of a basketball game, Atlanta Hawks superstar Trae Young was traded. He left the arena once he found out that he was traded and went to Washington, D.C. to play for the Wizards. That's crazy. Like, nobody's job is safe, like, at all. Like, your job is not safe at all. And it's sad to say it like that because at the end of the day, if your job's not safe, you have no job security, and you really don't know if you're going to be a part of this team. And it's really up to your performance on the court, your performance on the field. It's really up to your agent to have your back as well. And if you have a decent agent who has your back, you'll be able to land a job pretty quickly somewhere. And so, I just find that really interesting to just kind of know that even though sports is the universal language, you really don't have job security. Just know that at the end of the day, You got to figure out what's going to be beneficial for you and your family at that time. And so the crazy part though, right, is that we talk about being benched for your performance. We talk about how you are supposed to be a superstar, how you're supposed to be something. And you get people like LeBron James, who's supposed to be a superstar, who's supposed to be the GOAT, but he hasn't been playing defense recently. But why hasn't JJ Redick benched LeBron James? In my opinion, LeBron should have been benched or traded by now. Yes, he can win you games, but he's old. He's out of his prime. He's just not worth it anymore. The crazy part about all of this, too, is that they won't bench him for whatever reason. He needs to be benched. He's horrible at playing defense right now. This is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, in 21 or 23 years that LeBron hasn't been named a starter in the NBA All-Star game. Crazy. But LeBron wants to cry about every little thing. Like, what's up with that? It's unheard of, because the way this generation is, they are set up to be soft. In my opinion, the way that this game is played, everybody has to shoot a three-pointer. Nobody wants to play fundamental basketball. What happens if everyone jumps in and plays fundamental basketball like it was the 90s when Jordan played, when Shaq played, when, Scottie Pippen, Moses Malone, Dr. J, when they all played and went through the ranks? What happened? They were getting beat up. They played fundamental basketball. The three-point shot was unheard of. In my opinion, the three-point shot has ruined the game of basketball, and there's talks of potentially testing the waters for a four-point shot. It's going to ruin the game of basketball even more. Yes, they bring in fans, but the NBA is not as entertaining as it was before in the 90s, the early 2000s. To your point in the chat, someone said that they like Anthony Edwards. I respect Anthony Edwards, and I believe that he is a great player, but he is not one of my favorite players. I'm big on underdogs. Iverson is a great player. I like Allen Iverson myself, but I'm a Lou Williams fan. I like his style. I like the hustle. I like the grind, and I like the underdog mindset that he has. But to your comment here in the chat, how does a three-pointer ruin basketball? Everyone has to shoot the three-pointer. There's rarely anybody attacking the basket anymore. Everyone has to shoot the three-pointer. Everyone has to be able to say, oh, I made this three-pointer. I did this. I did that. It's not fun anymore. It's not entertaining anymore. Like, the NBA is starting to become less entertaining than the WNBA, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You can disagree to agree. You can agree to disagree, however you want to say it. But in my opinion, the way that the NBA is going with the three-point shot, like, everybody has to be like Steph Curry. Everybody has to be like Dame. Everybody has to be like that person who can shoot the three-pointer. Whatever. But who can handle the basketball the best? Hey, that's a great point. Spud Webb is a great basketball player. So was Muggsy as well. If we looking in, the 90s, like I said, I like Jordan, I like Shaq, I like Charles Barkley, I like Dennis Rodman, I like Dr. J, I like Pistol Pete. I respect their game, and I respect the hustle that they had, because even then, even Reggie Miller can shoot the jump shot, but he can attack the basket as well. And my thing is that everyone is trying to beat some type of stat and beat some type of record, right? So Steph Curry can shoot the three. He shoots it very well. He's confident in his shot, and he can shoot it, turn around, and know that it's going in. I applaud him for doing that. But everybody wants to do the same thing that Steph is doing. He is setting a trend. He's setting an example, and everybody is trying to follow after him. Chris Webber, part of the Fab Five, great player. I respect him. He's part of the Sixers as well. But I really don't like the Kings. I mean, because you had Mike Bibby, you had Chris Webber. You had a decent squad, but what did they really do? You had Peja Stojakovic. What did they really do? They could have made a run. I like the Detroit Pistons, when they played back in 04 and they won the championship because they were an underdog team. They had Ben Wallace. They had Rasheed Wallace. They had Rip Hamilton, who's from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, by the way. So if we got anybody that's from the local area, huge shout out to Coatesville, PA, and, Rip Hamilton for, representing very well to an underdog city. The other crazy part is that they had Chauncey Billups as well. They were an underdog team. Now, mind you, like hindsight a couple years down the road, if they all would have stayed on the same, they did have Prince as well, Tayshaun Prince. I forgot about him. But imagine if that team would have stuck together just a little bit longer, and then AI got traded to the Pistons as well. Just think about the damage they could have done to the league. It would have been crazy to see. I like that. I like that right there. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, Kyrie has changed the game with the way he handled the basketball. Derrick Rose has changed the game of basketball. I don't know. What about the Pacers? Elaborate on that one for me. What about the Pacers? I mean, Reggie Miller is probably like the best person on the Pacers at the time. I mean, I just wasn't sold on them. Like, yeah, he scored what? Like 20 points almost it was in 30 seconds or something like that. Something crazy like that. But what about them? Were they really that competitive of a team? Were they really that much of a powerhouse? They are trash. They had Tyrese who messed his ankle up or towards Achilles or something like that. But they choked. Exactly. They are not the team to beat. They are not really the team to talk about. If you want to talk about them, in my opinion, they're like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. Like, that's just my opinion. I think the Pacers are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. I don't hang around their fans long enough to talk to them about if they think they're going to win a championship this year. But I think that with all the hype around Caitlin Clark and Tyrese Halliburton in Indiana, it just brought too much hype, and it just ruined their play, their mindset. Because if I'm not mistaken, Halliburton didn't do nothing on Team USA to help them win the gold. So, like, is he really relevant at that point? Like, is he really considered a superstar? Yeah, he can shoot a three-pointer. Yeah, he can make a crazy basket. But, like, let's be for real. Let's be honest. Is he really the franchise player to lead the team back to another NBA Finals and potentially win? I just don't see it. After his injury, don't see it. Now, if you look at like Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady, that was decent. If I'm not mistaken, at one point Vince Carter joined that team with Tracy McGrady, or Tracy joined the Raptors with Vince Carter. But either way, like, I would have loved to see Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady win a championship together. Now that would have been like epic to watch, and history would have been made there. Like, that would have been crazy. Like, in general, just to see that happen alone. But let's shift focus a little bit from basketball. We're going to go back to basketball a little bit here in a little bit, but let's shift our focus to the NFL, to where you have the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game, where you got Coach Mike versus Coach Sean, and then you got Coach Mike versus Coach Sean. Ironic, huh? Was it in the script, or is it for real? I mean, you got what, the Rams versus the Seahawks, and then the Broncos versus the Patriots. Like, if I'm being honest, I would like to see the Broncos beat the Patriots, and then I would like to see the Rams beat the Seahawks, and then I would like to see the Rams win the Super Bowl. But if we're being honest and the script goes the way it's supposed to go, you'll probably see a Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl, and hopefully this time they don't run the ball or they don't throw the ball on the 1 yard line. They actually pass it. That is true. They are blood cousins, and that's the crazy. That's why I said it would be epic if they actually won a championship together. That'd be nice. Like, just think about that. But let's hear it in the chat for your NFL predictions really fast, because I want to bring this as our unfiltered, unpopular opinion here. And who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl, and who do you think is going to win it all? So let's hear your Super Bowl predictions before we jump back to the NBA, because I got some stuff that I want to hear about from the NBA from you. From you guys. So Super Bowl predictions. Let's hear it. Who's playing each other in the Super Bowl and who's taking it all? I've already told you mine. I honestly think that we're going to see the Broncos versus the Rams. That's my prediction, and I think the Rams win. See, I mean, listen, it's a good, a good take on that one. I would love to see Matthew Stafford win the Super Bowl. I honestly don't think I would like to see the Seahawks back in another Super Bowl. I just, after seeing the Seahawks throw the ball at the 1 yard line, you throw the ball at the 1 yard line with arguably the best running back in the game of football, and you throw it at the 1 yard line and get the ball intercepted. And who are they playing? You guessed it, the New England Patriots. But of course, the script had Tom Brady winning, so it really wouldn't have mattered anyway. But, I'm happy that, the Cowboys ain't there. I'm happy the Steelers ain't there because their fans are trash. They just talk a lot of trash as it is. I got honestly, I got the utmost respect for fans who are realistic for their team. Like, you have diehard fans who are like diehard excited about their team playing football, but they're realistic about their team as well. Like, oh yeah, the team is trash this year, but I still support my team. And I mentioned that part because I know a guy that I worked with that I'm really good friends with. He's a Jets fan. Now, I feel sorry for Jets fans because they had to live through Mark Sanchez's butt fumble. They had to live through trading or picking up Aaron Rodgers, and then he got hurt the first play or first drive of the game. It's just a lot that they had to endure and go through, but they stayed true. Sorry about that again. It went black. I had a call coming in, but they stay true to their team, and they understand what they're going through, and so what we see here is that our fans are loyal for some of the utmost respect reasons, but some of them are just bandwagoners. Like, it don't make sense to me at all. And I've been an Eagles fan since 2004. So I've known that I was an Eagles fan since 2004. I only knew about the Eagles in 2004 because I was in elementary school, and I was doing like what do you call those parades, like a celebration parade, and they had the news there, and we were like, I didn't know at the time, and so we were chanting for the Eagles and everything, and I'm like, oh, Eagles, and then we watched the Super Bowl that year, and the Eagles lost to the Patriots that year in the Super Bowl, but ever since then, I just watched the Eagles through and through. I would have loved to see the Eagles win a Super Bowl at some point before they did, but I'm glad to live to see them win 2 Super Bowls and kind of just take it from there. But when we look at accountability, and this is where we can jump back into the NBA as well, is that when the game is on the line, and you miss the jump shot, or you make a bad pass, or something doesn't go right, who is to take accountability for that situation? Let's hear that in the chat, because that's decent information to know. Someone needs to be able to take accountability for a bad play call. Someone needs to be able to take accountability for a bad pass. Someone needs to be able to take accountability for a bad jump shot. Someone needs to take accountability for the way the offense or the defense have been playing during that game. So ultimately, who takes the accountability? Whose fault is it? Is it all on the head coach? Is it all on your star player? Who's to blame? Man, we know the Eagles didn't pay for their first Super Bowl because they beat who? Tom Brady with a backup quarterback. I'm just saying. And them Steelers fans always think that they better than everybody, but they wrong. That is true. The head coach has the weight to bear. I think he has majority of the weight to bear, but I don't think that all the accountability and responsibility falls on the head coach, because the head coach brings in a coaching staff to do their job, and he trusts them to do their job. And if that person isn't doing their job, they have to get them out. Prime example, the Eagles should have got rid of their offensive coordinator when they went on a 3-game losing streak. He should have been gone because he hasn't been aggressive. He ran the same couple plays every single drive, and they caught on to it. So in that sense, I don't think it's the head coach fault. I think it was the offensive coordinator. But I don't think Jalen Hurts sucks. I think he's a good quarterback. I just think that he has been, too inconsistent, because he has had, this will be now 11 offensive coordinators. Hurts can throw the ball down the field. Don't get me wrong. He can throw the ball downfield. He can run the ball. But Hurts is more of an RPO quarterback than he is a pocket precision quarterback. Hurts is more, I say it again, Hurts is more of a RPO style quarterback than he is standing in the pocket and trying to take a hit and throwing the ball accurately. I can't expect a quarterback to do his job if every year he's got a new offensive coordinator. You have to be able to, like, you're learning a new system every single year. That's 11 years straight, if I'm not mistaken. He has to learn a new system 11 years straight. That's hard to do, and I give him the respect. I don't think he's the great quarterback. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he is a good quarterback. The reason I say that is not only because they're comparing his stats to Tom Brady's stats, but I say this because he has led the Eagles in so many different ways to help them win games, and he's put the team on his back because he had to. When A.J. Brown was complaining about not getting the ball thrown to him, what happened? Hurts started throwing the ball, and what did he do? He started dropping the passes. So Hurts had to start looking for other options. Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert. He got options. So he had to start using his options. That is true. He did bring that person into his coaching staff, and they've done a horrible job. And it's the coach's responsibility to mentor that staff member. But at the same time, like you said, it may not be his fault 100%, but he has to take accountability and responsibility for the people that he brings in. And I agree with that statement 100%. After you pick Jordan, who else would you choose second for your team, and must be from 80s and 90s player? If you count Kobe Bryant as being a part of the 90s player, I'll pick Kobe as my second choice. And Bars Guns 1751, I agree with your statement here, right? Is he good enough for long-term success for the Eagles? No, I don't think so. He does make bad choices, and it is what it is. You have to live and you have to learn. But who is holding him accountable if his play caller is changing every single year? How do you hold someone accountable? With the game on the line, if I already got Jordan on my team and the number 2 person with the game on the line, I'm taking Kobe Bryant. Straight up, I'm taking Kobe because Kobe mimics Jordan's game to a T, but he crafted it better and improved it to have his Mamba mentality. So with the game on the line, injury or not, I'm taking Kobe. Straight up. You're right. Andre Iguodala was okay for the Sixers. He was a decent role player. He was a decent role player for who? The Golden State Warriors. When he played for Denver, you really didn't hear much about him. I don't think he was that good in Denver, but again, I would agree with that statement that he was okay for the Sixers. So, like, you know, I'm not like Max Kellerman with the game on the line, and you got to pick between Curry and Iguodala. I'm taking Curry over Iguodala. I would have Michael Jordan. I would have Kobe Bryant. I would have Dr. J. I would have Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird. I would pick Shaq. I would pick uh hmm, I would pick Charles Barkley. I would put him on there. Now, are we talking like you trying to recreate the dream team over here? Because if you want to recreate the dream team, Hassan, let's hear your dream team. Let's hear your starting five and then your reserve two. So 7 players total. Let's hear that. I see out the pit once Shaq. Sorry, once Scottie Pippen, Kobe, and Gary Payton. Those are good choices right there. Gary the Glove, Payton. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that choice. What about Kevin Garnett and his partner? Was it Sean Kemp? I would have picked him too. But yeah, let's throw it in the chat. Put your starting five and then your reserve two. So these 7 players, who you would pick, and according to the question, had to be players from the 80s and 90s only. So let's hear it. I want to see this one. This is gonna be interesting. So while we wait in the chat for that, while y'all putting y'all little answers in the chat, we're gonna continue to move on. Right back to the question at hand too. Right, is that who takes the blame for accountability? Right, and so we know the film don't lie. We can see when mistakes are happening, but I heard that the head coach takes the blame for it. But what about the front office? What about the general manager? What about the owner? Do they take some accountability? Or do they get let loose and get off the hook on this one? It's interesting because when the Eagles were losing and not winning games and not making the playoffs and not having a winning season, people were like, "We got to fire Howie. We got to fire Howie. We got to fire Howie." Is it Howie's fault or is it the coach's fault? Now that's something to think about right there. We could put that one in a poll and figure out, who's really to blame. Who takes majority of blame? Is it the coach? Is it your GM? Is it the owner? Everybody plays a huge part in that right there. But I'm still waiting for y'all to put your answers in the chat. for your starting five and your reserve two for the NBA of 80s and 90s players only. The Pit took a chance with Iverson. Okay, I wouldn't disagree to that one. Let's see here. What about Moses Malone? I might put him on my team. Um, ooh, you know what? Hakeem Olajuwon. I would put Hakeem Olajuwon on my team. That's a good one. A great big man. Ooh, what about Stockton? Hmm, or even Kareem. That is true. Jerry Jones is always in front of the media, but if I'm not mistaken, Jerry Jones plays the role of the general manager and the owner. So, his mind, and he's just delusional in his mind, he just needs some help and he just needs some more guidance or whatnot. Um, we also forgot Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, George Gervin, Clyde the Glide Drexler. We got some players there that were like 80s icons. David Robinson, Carl Malone. You got Grant Hill. And then again, you got Kobe, Tim Duncan, Iverson, who were kind of like in that middle point of 80s, early 2000s, or sorry, not 80s, 90s, early 2000s. But honestly, if I had to pick a starting five, I would pick Hakeem. I would pick David Robinson. Then I would probably pick Jordan, Kobe, and then probably put Charles Barkley. And this is not like any specific order or anything like that. One, two, three, that's five right there. I would also put Iverson in there as well. And then I would put it's a tie for my last one, honestly. I mean, I could put Patrick Ewing in there. I could put Clyde Drexler in there. Even John Stockton. But if I'm, I would go with I can go with Clyde. I'll put Clyde in there. But that's a tie though because it's between Clyde Drexler or Scotty. That was literally the two that I like looking there. So one, two, three, four, five, six. So those are mine right there. Um, no, but it is what it is. Let's see what this one says. All right, Ron's opinion don't matter. Said Magic Johnson, Kareem, Shaq, Jordan, Iverson, and his grandma. That means if his grandma was a baller, ladies and gentlemen, he must be a baller too. We got to see some film on this one here. Let's get some. Let's get the film rolling for Ron's opinion don't matter. Playing basketball, growing up, I got to see this. He might have been on the Uncle Drew mixtape too. You never know. We got to look closely in that film to see if we see Ron's opinion don't matter. He might be dressed up, and we just don't know. And honestly, I think Shaq might have been portraying Ron's opinion don't matter in the movie anyway. So who knows? That's the crazy part. They in that movie, the character Shaq was playing looked just like Ron's opinion don't matter. So it's funny. Just saying. You can only imagine like Ron trying to jump out there and dunk the basketball, and then he land on his feet, and then he got to get subbed out the game because he talk about, oh, I broke my back, like he was Mike Tyson, spinal. Let's get him out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny, but um, it's 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 important to kind of know legends and key icon players that key icon players who made a difference in the game of basketball or football, whatever sport that you follow, right? It's crucial to know these icon players, these legends, because they have made a difference in the game that you watch or play. But let's open this up for debate. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. Who had the best rivalries in sports history? Question mark. I want to know that. Who had the best rivalries in sports history? For basketball, was it Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson? Was it Jordan versus the Pistons? Was it the Bulls versus the Knicks? Was it the Rockets versus the Knicks? But in the sport that you play, who had the best rivalry in sports history? Let's open that one up for debate. Because that'll be interesting here too. Like, hey, what is it just Shaq and Kobe? Now that's classic right there. They fight all the time, but they respect each other. But that's a good one. They when Shaq was traded, they were pretty much rivalries. What could have been LeBron and D Wade or LeBron and Carmelo Anthony. Who had the best rivalries of all time? There's no right or wrong answer either. I just want to know, what do you guys think? Ron Artest versus Meta World Peace. That man has so many names he can't even count on his fingers. That's the crazy part. See, you can look at the history of the 80s and 90s players, early 2000s players, and even the players to today. But honestly speaking, if those rivalries never happened, would you be able to enjoy the game that you were watching? So if, the Bulls versus the Knicks was happening, would you be able to watch it if it wasn't a competitive game? If Jordan versus the Pistons was happening, would you be able to watch that game? Right? Just look at it, right? If Shaq and Kobe wasn't having a fight or an argument because Kobe not passing the ball and Shaq ain't getting the ball down low or whatever the case may be, if that's not happening and Shaq doesn't get traded, would that be considered, one of the best rivalries of all time? Would the game have changed? If so, how would it change the game? There's a lot to look at because the game gets changed based off of rivalries, based off of people who show out and becomes a superstar. For people like the underdogs, in my opinion, Jalen Brunson, I consider him an underdog. Josh Hart, I consider him an underdog. They are playing decent basketball. Mikal Bridges, I consider him an underdog. Now, that's a crazy one. Delonte West versus LeBron James. If I was LeBron James, I would have beat him up too. Like, why are you trying to talk to my mom? Like, that's crazy. We supposed to be teammates. Teammates. Nah, I'm gonna sip my drink. Nah, that's not happening, OG. Nope. Not today. Not today. But I want to know if you had to play a sport and watch that sport for the rest of your life, which sport would it be and why? If I had to play a sport and watch a sport for the rest of my life, I would pick basketball. Yeah, I know he did that to his mom. That's the crazy part. That's why I just said talk, because I didn't want to even take it that deep. I mean, it was deep. It was that deep, but like, yeah, that's a fight. And props to LeBron for not knocking him out, but he got him traded. That's for sure. That's the crazy part. If you was in LeBron's shoes, what would you have done in that situation? That's a great point right there. If you was in his shoes, what would you have done in his situation? That's a see me outside. How about that kind of talk? See, I like football, but football becoming too soft. Like, I miss the days when Brian Dawkins would come out and knock your teeth out. I miss the days where Ray Lewis was out there knocking somebody out. Like, those were the hard hitting football days where the quarterback can get hit or even touched without a flag being thrown. Now, like, even a finger on the quarterback and there's a flag gone. Roughing the passer, defense, number 95. Like, it just, I don't know. Football, in my opinion, is just going in the wrong direction. And I don't like it. The NBA is going in the wrong direction. I don't like that either. I think Adam Silver needs to go. Fire the commish. Like, it was a great idea to bring in the NBA Commissioner Cup or whatever, but nah. He said women's football. He's wild for that. Um, yeah, except I like basketball. So I will watch the WNBA. I will watch college basketball, women's and men's college basketball. I will watch men's college basketball too. I'm a huge Villanova fan, so Villanova's back in the win column. Villanova's doing really good, and if I'm not mistaken, they should be nationally ranked at some point, and hopefully get an invite to the national champion or the national tournament as well, the big dance in March. So that's coming up. Ooh, that's going to be good talk. Really good talk. Is March Madness. When March Madness gets here, y'all better have your game faces on and ready to go, because when the door comes knocking, coming out with the hammer, I'm telling y'all now, I don't think Villanova's going to win a national championship this year, but I think they're going to go, if they make the tournament, I think they're going to go pretty far because they're playing very well. I was sad when Jay Wright retired, but I'm happy for him that he's doing bigger and better things right now. But I need Villanova to get back in the win column. It's another team I've been following since 2004, and I respect Coach Wright and everything he's done for that program to turn it around the way he did. I actually saw him in person, and I should have got his autograph, but that's okay. I remember when I was in basic training, and I heard that Villanova had won a national championship That was hype. That was in 2016, and then they won again in 2018. So 2 natty championships in the span of 3 years. Bro, they actually got a professional pillow fighting sport. That's crazy. That is wild. If I'm being honest, I would watch the slap that power slapping sport is one on one. You got your hand, you better grip it, bow, and just smack the living hell out of somebody. Like I would do that too. No lie. I would watch that because it's just like you like let me just like bring my hand all the way back with all my power and just smack the daylight out of you and then watch your head tilt one way and your neck tilt the other way, and then next thing you know you knocked out conscious and they got to get the smelling sauce to wake you back up, and then next thing you know you don't even know what day it is, you don't even know where you at, you got knocked out. You looking like the dude from Friday when he got knocked out and talk about my grandmama gave me that chain. Nah, man. I like watching that though. That's very entertaining. The power slapping sport or whatever it's called. But I did see scrolling through like shorts and stuff like that on Instagram and Facebook. I seen some of those pillow fighting events and people be jumping over or no, that's tag. But pillow fight, they be in like the octagon ring, like the UFC ring style rings, and they be smacking the lay out of everybody with a pillow. It's crazy. No, I wasn't talking about power slapping, running and power slapping. Power slapping, you standing still and getting knocked out. But I'm talking about, and they got an actual pro sport for like tag. It's like one on one, and you jumping over rails and you ducking and dodging and everything. And if you get tagged, you lost. But yeah, that's what I was referring to, not power slapping. But yeah, that's crazy. Like yeah, yo, we should set up an OG network power slapping competition, like a tournament for power slapping on the OG network. That'd be crazy to see. But the first ever match of power slapping on the OG network is got to be Ron's opinion don't matter and out the pit. I got to see that one right there. Those two. First ever power slapping match on the OG network has to be Ron's opinion don't matter versus out the pit. And we ain't talking about with the little tortilla slapping and all of that, like actual power slapping. Let's see that one. But Ron going back away anyway, so it's all right. We know he getting old. He ain't trying to relive his glory days or nothing like that. But that's all right, man. We know talk is cheap some of these days, but that's all right. I'm okay with that. But on Unfiltered Sports, there's no whistle, there's no timeouts, and there's no excuses. There's just nothing but heartbeat, cold truth, and no feelings attached. I'm just saying, on Unfiltered Sports, it is raw, unfiltered, no biasness, just your take on what you think about sports in general. I don't want to see Ron's opinion don't matter forfeit already because that's crazy. But if he ain't got nothing left in the tank, we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for tuning in to Unfiltered Sports this week, and until next time, you guys have a blessed day. You guys stay classy, and you guys have a great night. Stay warm for those of you guys that are getting snow. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, checking us out. And until next time, have a great night.
Fellas, ladies, you're looking for lotions, you're looking for beard oils, but unfortunately everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and it's probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.